What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So we go for my predictions for Game Week 31 in the Premier League. I actually think this is going to be a very close game week. A lot of matches are very even. I think a lot of them could go either way, except for one. Everton against Arsenal. Everton just lost 1-0 in the Merseyside derby. Arsenal just won a London derby against Fulham 2-1. That game was Everton's first defeat in 10 under Moyes. And Arsenal did lose Gabriel against Fulham. Timber's also a bit shaky, he might be out with a knock. White's still out, Calafiori's still out, and it's got Real Madrid coming up in just a couple of days. They definitely have to have one eye on that, especially because the Premier League is pretty much unattainable now after Liverpool won that Merseyside derby. If they had dropped points, I'd say it's still possible, but the fact that they won, although maybe they shouldn't have because it was a clear offside goal, they did, and I think it's done now. Arsenal should put all their eggs in the Champions League basket. Do I think they'll do that? Probably not. I have gone with a 1-0 win for Arsenal, but I think Everton definitely could take it, man. Iliman Ndiaye is now back. Dwight McNeil's back in training as well. He could make the bench. And obviously defensively they're very strong, as are Arsenal to be fair. So it will be a cagey one. I don't think it'll be the most entertaining game. Crystal Palace against Brighton. It's apparently a rivalry. Like, how is that a rivalry? I don't know. Brighton's very good run of form came to an end after losing very, very embarrassingly Aston Villa at home. I know they lost in the FA Cup before, but that was a penalty shootout. They technically drew that game. And Crystal Palace, embarrassingly, did not manage to beat Southampton. And although that result did mean that the Eagles extended unbeaten run to 4 games, they've only won 4 home games all season. Brighton will be looking to bounce back after that defeat, and will also be looking for a bit of revenge after they lost at home to us earlier in the season. And I think they'll get it. I've won 2-1 to the Seagulls. Come on, Albion, please beat them. Ipswich against Wolves. Very interesting game this. It is 18th against 17th, although they are separated by 9 points. Ipswich did beat Wolves at Molineux in the last minute, in a game which saw Cunha get himself suspended. Both these sides did win in the last game week. Ipswich's win in particular, very eye-opening, because it shows that there's still a bit of fight there. Beating Bournemouth away from home, I know Wolves did it too, but they did it against 10-man Bournemouth, is not an easy task. And that second goal in particular, brilliant key move, dumping finish from Delap. And this game definitely means more to Ipswich than just to Wolves. They haven't had a good home record, but I'm going to back them. I've gone 2-1 to Ipswich. If they can win here, there's still a bit of hope for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, 6 points is tough to overcome, but not impossible. West Ham against Bournemouth. Bournemouth are in a really bad run of form right now. They were doing so well. They got their players back, and now it's all going tits up somehow. Cliver was missing, he's huge. Semenyo's been really off the pace and was awful in that game as well against Ipswich. Christie's playing for injections, he's so important to the team, but that is a very risky thing to do. They are obviously still in the European hunt, but they are now in 10th place on a bad run of form, although West Ham have absolutely nothing to play for. They have been a lot more defensively solid on the Potter, but they can't seem to score any goals, although Kudus could return to this game. Fulkrug is now back in the squad as well. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw here. I don't think it'll be the most entertaining game. Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest, a Midlands derby, the 2 Midlands clubs with Champions League trophies, and also a game that could end up being the FA Cup final. Obviously both of them chasing a Champions League spot via the league. Forest in a fantastic position, Villa a little bit further behind, but are on a good run of form right now in all competitions. Forest have the 3rd best away record in the league, Villa have only lost 1 home game. Going to be very tight, and they do have PSG coming up in a couple of days as well, do Villa. But I don't see them losing at Villa Park, so I've gone with a 1-1 draw. I think Forest are probably the more likely team to win, if I'm going to be honest, because of the fact that Villa have that game in a couple of days. There'll probably be one eye on that. And Forest have been fantastic in nearly every game. Obviously they had a massive comeback against Villa at the City Ground. There's no reason why they can't win at Villa Park as well, but I just think Villa's home record is, it's hard to beat in there. Brentford against Chelsea, West London derby. Brentford had won 5 straight away games in a row and were also in a really bad home run of form. And now they've lost an away game. Is the home form going to pick up again? Chelsea got past Spurs in a really bad game, to be honest with you. They've obviously got Conference League coming up too. The game at the Bridge was fairly close. Chelsea edged it 2-1. That's the only win ever against Brentford at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. And Brentford have never beaten Chelsea at the G-Tech. So now that Chelsea broke the Stamford Bridge curse, could Brentford break the G-Tech curse? I mean, do I hope so? Kind of. I hate both of them so... This is my Hitler style in that. I despise them both so much. I would prefer Brentford to win because I don't think they'll get into Europe. And unfortunately, they're not going to get relegated, whereas Chelsea, any points lost is huge now in their race for the Champions League. So I do want Brentford to win this, but I've gone with a 1-1 draw. The last 2 meetings between these two at the GTEC have ended in draws. Fulham against Liverpool. Fulham are a very tricky team to play against. They do play some good football, but they can struggle to put the ball in the net sometimes. Especially at Craven Cottage, if you sit a bit deeper against them, they can struggle to break that down. And I feel like Liverpool have adopted a more defensive approach in recent games. Against Fulham, that could be exactly what you need. But if Berger and Lukic start together and make it a very physical midfield, Liverpool could struggle with that. But I still back them to get the job done. I'm going 2-1 to the Reds. Although Robertson has been really good this season, and I won't put it past him to deal with Salah, who really hasn't been on it the last few games. He may be tired after having to play against Ranieri and Saka just a couple of days before. I actually think Fulham will be the better side in this game, but Liverpool will take their chances and Fulham won't. Tottenham against Southampton. Postecoglou is by far the worst manager in the Premier League for a supposed top team. Do you know what I mean? Like, how can you cut your ears at your own fans and then have the goal disallowed? Do you know how embarrassing that is? I'm not even a Tottenham fan and I despise him, man. Like, he is so bad, so out of his depth. 10 games last season fooled the whole fan base. And to be fair, a lot of Tottenham fans now are very, very vocal with how much they want him gone. There's still a select few that I see that really back him, and I just don't understand why. He is awful. He will make this a tough game. Like, he'll make this seem really tough. Juric has made Southampton less battered I don't know how to word it, but they don't get battered as much anymore. Like, you know, under Ross Martin, they'd get beaten 4-0, 5-0. They play the exact same way, whereas now they're a bit more defensive. They're a bit more cautious when they need to be, which is a very good thing. And they were unlucky not to beat Palace, obviously 92nd minute equaliser. Tottenham will be so open, we already know, and Sulemana dribbling could cause real problems. And watch you in the box as well, like Romero's going to get bullied if he plays. But Tottenham still have to win this. There's no way that, like, if they don't win this, Postecoglou genuinely might get kidnapped. You know what I mean? I'm going 3-2 Tottenham because Southampton still defensively can be a bit suspect, and Tottenham's squad is more than good enough to win these games, and Postecoglou makes their squad look so bad. I don't understand how. Manchester United against Manchester City, see the Manchester derby, huge game. It would be mad if Man United, despite having probably their worst season ever in the Premier League, did the double over Man City. And that would be truly embarrassing for Pep Guardiola. United are still in the Europa League and they'll have one eye on the quarter-final clash. And United have also been better away from home than they have been at home under Amorim. Like, their record at Old Trafford under him is abysmal. It's so bad. It's embarrassing. Man City are just so weird. You don't know what Pep's going to do. I mean, he wasn't even there for the last game when they won. He'll be back on the touchline now, which is a big disadvantage for the citizens. I think United will be solid enough defensively. City will go forward a lot. And just not really able to create enough. It'll end 1-1 in my opinion. Yeah, it could just go either way, you know. Obviously, in the context of the league, it means a lot more for Man City, but for Man United, the pride they would get from beating City twice, despite having their worst ever season in the Premier League, would be quite something. And Amorim has beaten Guardiola twice already this season, so it could be free. But Diallo is unavailable still, and he was the hero at the Etihad. Jeremy Doku is going to have a huge game for Manchester City, and I back him if Pep Guardiola utilises him as more of an inside forward. I don't believe in him to do so. Leicester City against Newcastle, the only one-sided game in this game week in my opinion. Leicester have lost 14 out of 15, they've lost 7 in a row without scoring a goal. Like, do you know how mental that is? How rude Van Nistelrooy is still in with a job? I do not know. Obviously I've been talking about Postecoglou and how bad he is. Van Nistelrooy is just as bad, if not even worse, man. Because they were doing okay under Kluber. But how you can constantly bench your best player? Like, I don't know. Buonanotte has to start this. Like, just for the fans, give the fans something, man. Because how do you expect them to keep turning up when you're putting out that shit team every week, man? Newcastle, they're on a pretty good run. Obviously, just beat Brentford. Bit of a cagey game, but they got the job done. Finally, what a goal from them. But against one of the worst managers the league has ever seen, Newcastle can afford to rotate here a little bit, in my opinion, especially considering they've got 2 games coming up the week after. Bruno, he's played so many minutes this season. Let Lewis Miley play, in my opinion. He's more than good enough. Potentially, we could see Isak rested after he came off early against Brentford, or maybe Will Osula. We haven't seen him start in the Premier League. Obviously, it's a bit of a risk, but if Isak is carrying a knock, Leicester isn't a game you want to risk that in. There's a bit of a dilemma about who should start on the left wing. I personally believe it should be Harvey Barnes, obviously against his former club. But he's also been fantastic on that left-hand side over the last 3 games. assist against West Ham, obviously the assist against Brentford, and should have had a goal as well if he used that passing ball. He was excellent against Liverpool in the cup final as well. Anthony Gordon shouldn't be able to just come straight back into the team, especially after what he did in the FA Cup. And if he should play, it should be on the right, because Barnes should have that left wing on lock for the next couple of weeks. I mean, I'm waffling a lot here. It's going to be 3-0 Newcastle. They've played quite a lot on Monday night. They've had mixed success, but it's Leicester, man. They're so bad. They won 4-0 against them at St James's Park, which actually started the horrible run for Leicester. Other than prediction this week, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon for another video.